Here we go. Hello and good afternoon, Xbox Nation. Welcome to this week's new episode of X Vlog Live. I'm your host, Mr. BoomStick XL, and for the next 75-ish minutes, you're going to have a great time. We're going to have a great conversation. We're going to have fun. We're going to laugh. We have some big topics to get into. Folks, obviously, unfortunately, another day has passed. Today is Thursday of this 1 week that we're in, and there has been another announcement of closures and shutdowns in the gaming industry. I was talking to Everborn Saga this morning, who has said that he had it confirmed that there have been over 10,000 layoffs in the gaming sector as of 2024. What's scary, what's concerning, and why it matters that we talk about this is that last year there were 11,000 jobs lost. But here's the difference: that was 12 months. This has been only 2. So I have a feeling that we're gonna see way more layoffs than we've ever seen in the tech sector, especially when it comes to gaming. It's sad, it's scary, of course. My heart, and I say mine because Mrs. Boom isn't here; she's working. But our hearts go out to everyone that's affected, and I hope that this industry opens its doors to its own, where you see these people that make games, the games that we love, the games that we play, the worlds that we live in, find work and work quickly. And again, I don't know what's going to happen, but it's really scary. It's a scary situation. But obviously, I'm here today with C Money. He is stepped away for a second. I would imagine he got a work call. Of course, that always happens right when you go live. So I'm going to keep the conversation going and kind of tell you folks about what we are going to be talking about today. And obviously, by the title, it has been confirmed that there are 50 plus million pre-registered players for Call of Duty Warzone Mobile. Why is that important? Is this a mobile channel? No, it is not. But mobile is gaming, and gaming is Xbox, and they have a beat for all involved. And obviously, when Call of Duty Mobile releases, well, Microsoft is going to be making hand over fist money. So at the end of the day, what does that mean for us? I'm not making any money, right? I'm not capping for the $1 trillion company. What I am capping for is, well, I think it's safe to say, with Call of Duty Warzone Mobile releasing on March 21st, already has 50 plus million pre-registered players, which of course it's going to have even more when it launches. What does that actually mean for us? Well, that means that it's probably a 100 or 1000% chance that Call of Duty Black Ops Gulf War launches into Xbox Game Pass day and date. And I say that because, well, they're going to be printing money with this mobile version. And think about this for a second, folks. When Call of Duty, not if, when Call of Duty Black Ops gets into Xbox Game Pass this coming fall, you're probably going to see more subscriptions to Xbox Game Pass than we've ever seen before. And ultimately, that makes your service that you pay for monthly increase, because now there is going to be more games put into the service, and one of the biggest games of the year is going to be there, and that's Call of Duty. The other story that I want to talk about is Michael Pachter. Now, obviously, I think you know who he is. He's an analyst for Webbush. He has been an analyst for that company for many years. Listen, he gets a lot of things wrong, but he also gets a lot of things right. And he did his Factor Pachter recently, where he had a quote, and I kind of want to expand on this, folks, because what he says is very interesting, and it makes sense to what Microsoft is currently doing with their first party games, putting some on PlayStation, putting some things on Nintendo. He says Xbox wants to win the gaming business and not the console war. And you know something? I mean, look, I'm not capping for the $3 trillion company. I don't like certain things, even thinking about being put on PlayStation because I'm a dinosaur. That's not how I was taught. That's not how I was transitioned. And that's how I'm going to be. Do I have a problem with the 4 games that are on there? Mostly no. Like I said, yeah, my feelings on Hi-Fi Rush is that it really has so much potential. And I don't think Microsoft really gave it enough chance to win, so to speak, because it was shadow dropped. I didn't see a lot of advertising. All I can hope is that it does sell well enough to fund a sequel because that game deserves one. And if it does do well on PlayStation and Nintendo Switch 2 when it probably launches there, maybe we get an anime. Maybe we get a graphic novel. Maybe we get a Netflix deal, right? So, I mean, transmedia is, correlation is super important to grow your brand. And we're seeing that do very well. Halo, for instance, is doing phenomenal. This season is legendary. You have the Amazon series of Fallout, which looks dope. Obviously, The Last of Us for Sony on HBO was a freaking amazing. So, I mean, who doesn't want to see more video games made into quality things? Gears of War, currently coming from Netflix in both anime and feature film. Yeah, sign me up. And it's Netflix. They don't really usually miss. Um, but first of all, we got 350 people here. We are only 8 minutes into the program. Honestly, I want to say that that is really a big deal for us. This is still a very small channel. The fact that you take the time to tune in almost every day is crazy generous, and we are so happy and thrilled that you're here. But let me see if okay, hold on a second. I got a message here. Okay, yes, yeah. So he's on a work call. He'll be right back. So let's continue this conversation. Hey, my good brother D Diaz in the chat. What's going on, brother? Welcome to the program. Um, let's see what else we got going on here. So okay, so let's talk about this Michael Pachter interview. I think it's relatively important. It's one that I think we should have a conversation, and of course, like always, we use articles from places that we trust to, put out the information. Now, sometimes we get this information from incredible people like Idle Sloth and Hasador Gaming, and there are quite a few others that we use that put this information out there. Like J Rock's another one, consistently putting information out there. Post Up is another one. Good friend, great friend of the community, great friend of this channel is consistently putting out information. And sometimes we use what they're putting out there because we want to give credit where credit is due. For today's conversation, I pulled the story from WCCF Tech. It was written by Alessio Palumbo. Now, obviously, this came the way of February 23rd, so it's a little older. It's 6 days old, but no one was talking about this. So I wanted to kind of have the conversation. Now, let me just do a quick check to see if C is back. He is not back. So I'm going to go right back to the article, and I'm going to read you verbatim of what Pachter had to say. Now, again, this is literally reading verbatim from the article, and it look, does it make it any better that exclusives as a whole are going away? I think for us graybeards, as it's like to be known, I don't think it really correlates with our way of gaming, right? Let's call a spade a spade. I still think exclusives matter. I still think brand identity is incredibly important. What I have to move away from, and what I'm starting to see, is that the Microsofts, the PlayStation, not so much the Nintendos, but everyone else seems to be focusing on the younger generation who plays on tablets, who plays on phones. Honestly, am I going to play Call of Duty Mobile? No, because I don't play Call of Duty hardly at all on console. But see, money, that's not for me. That's not for you. It's for the kids. So it's fine. They're the future. We're the old guard. We're gonna eventually be retired, and we're gonna move
Also for
on.
people like in like other countries that are not like that's
Indeed,
harder to get a console, right? But they all still have phones,
they
right?
also have
It
phones. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
so I mean it is opening up to big market. Sorry about that. I had to take a work
No,
call
no, 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 no,
unfortunately
don't
and
even sweat it. Don't even
tells to
sweat it.
stop.
Kale Walker in the chat says, I think Japanese developers at Tango wanted Hi-Fi Rush to be multi-platform. Yeah, I did hear that also. That I mean, listen, they were a multi-platform developer before uh being owned by Microsoft. And listen, it's fine. If that's, I can't argue with the creator. I just play their games they created. If they want more people to play it, then so be it.
I mean, that being
But
said, they all want more people to play it, but it's like, we own you, bro. So
Yeah,
calm down with where
yes,
you want to put your
yeah,
games. All right.
I kind of agree. I agree on that. But listen, we're opening up C Money with the Michael Pachter conversation, obviously, and let me just quote exactly what he said, and I'm going to read verbatim in a second, folks, just to bring C Money up to speed. We
Sure.
have obviously Pachter, like I said, he gets it wrong, but he also gets it right. He's trusted. I like Mike. I've never met him personally. I would like to and have a conversation with him. I think he's very smart, to be honest with you. Um, but he said that Xbox wants to win the gaming business money, not the console war. And I think he's a thousand
All right,
percent
man.
right. Because
I agree.
obviously, how long ago, if we all remember, did Phil Spencer say they want to reach 3 billion gamers? And what did the media and the anti-Xbox community do? They clowned on him. This guy doesn't know what the F he's talking about. 3 billion gamers. Nobody wants to play Xbox. Folks, I'm here to tell you, Xbox is so beyond a console right now. It's ridiculous. And again, for the old guard, it's going to be hard to swallow because we kind of are you conditioned to buy a box, buy a game for a box, and play on that box. That's just how we are. We're old. I have realized that. But I want to read some of
Facts.
his quotes here. Pretty interesting stuff, C Money. And this is what, of course, Michael Pachter had to say on his own show. It's called The Factor Pachter. He says, I think the whole development and promotion of Game Pass was always an acknowledgement that the Xbox is a platform and not necessarily a device you need. I think that Microsoft will be perfectly happy in a future where there are no consoles and everyone has a dumb terminal attached to the internet, to the cloud, and they stream all of their games. He goes on to say this, folks: Game Pass, that's their long, long game. And I think Microsoft recognized very early on in this cycle that the future is the cloud, and that if you don't have to sell a console to your addressable market, it goes from 200, 250, 300 million people who own a console to 3 or 4 billion people who play games. That's their end game. Much like Netflix says how many people watch TV, and the answer is 4 to 5 billion. So Netflix now has 260 million customers. And in closing, because there's a lot here, but I do want to just, again, I don't want to read it all because I want to obviously have a conversation with you, C Money, and the chat. He says in closing on his point here, I think he says, I think that Satya Nadella being the architect and Phil Spencer being the field general executing the strategy, I think they're going to get a 250 million Game Pass subscribers without a console. That is a pretty big statement. Currently, we know that they're at 34 million. We learned that during the business update. The one thing that still remains unclear, and I don't know if anyone has yet to figure it out, whether or not that includes Game Pass Core, or that is just 34
Yeah.
million Game Pass, Ultimate and the tier underneath for console. I honestly don't know, but it's
It
34
can't be core.
million.
So I mean,
Yeah.
Sarah told us as much, right?
Well, she said
And
34 million people are going to play Diablo
exactly,
4.
which means that it can't be including core
Right.
because core would not get that game, right? So again, I know all the people out there who wants to start doing their own analysis of things. If you do the analysis, you realize how quickly it's a stupid ass thought to think that they had how many 47 million people with gold, and then what? They're gonna all leave
Right. It's
because they got
ridiculous.
turned into Game Pass for free? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a stupid idea, right? So, as much as the people out there wanna try to put their own thoughts on this and try to justify for themselves that, "Oh, no, they can't have that many." No. She made it very clear. She said 34 million people are gonna be able to
Yep.
play this game, and that's it. And that Tom Warren article that they try to say, "Oh, no, look, it was corrected." If you read the article, it's updated and then updated again, and the second update says that Sarah's numbers were correct. This is
Well,
what it was.
and that was reported on by The Verge, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
this is the thing. Do you think that if Sarah went out there and said this, that The Verge is the way that they're gonna let everybody know? Or do you not think that they would say, "Hey, there was an error and it's gonna be this many people who can play," right? Come on, man. These things
Yeah,
this was a
well,
video that was put out there. This wasn't
yeah.
a off the cuff, like, "Hey, let's just say things,"
I'm
right?
sorry
Sarah
to
knew
say she's
exactly what she
human,
was
but
supposed to say.
this she doesn't
No,
get things
this is
wrong.
scripted, bro. It's
Right, yeah.
100% scripted.
Yeah, it is absolutely scripted. Yep.
And
So,
after it's said, they scrub it, right? They look through, they see what was said, and let's make sure that nothing that was said was wrong or incorrect.
yep.
They said 34 million. So the only way that number would count is if all of a sudden core members get the games day and date, which we know they don't, right?
Yep. They don't. So,
Yep.
look, at
Sometimes
the
the
end of it,
simplest answer is the answer right in front of you and not the one that you have to go and try to try to create.
the one thing I will say this, I'm not throwing the gaming media. Well, listen, the gaming media, a good portion of it is just absolute rubbish. Sorry, if I'm pissing on your cornflakes, be better. What can I tell you? Be a better journalist. Have journalistic integrity. There are a few that I do consistently go to that I trust that have gotten it wrong. But the one thing I will say that has frustrated me as a creator is, especially with everything that's going on with Xbox in the last, 3 weeks plus, has been this motto of loudest, fastest. And I
Yep.
hate it. I absolutely hate it because when I get it wrong, first of all, let me just tell you this, folks. When I get something wrong, I don't know so much about you. For me, I get sick to my stomach because I got something wrong. It could be something minute. I spent a lot of time on these shows prepping before. So I do my own prep work. There's no one that's checking up on it. I double check, I triple check. So when I get it wrong, you don't understand how aggravated I get with myself because I did the checks and I still got it wrong, and that pisses me off to no end. But what pisses me off even more, see money, is the gaming media recently. And again, no names here. We're not going to war. We don't want to fight with anybody. We all get it wrong. We're all human. I totally get that. But this ideology of fastest, loudest is gross. And some
Facts.
of the people that got it wrong are some of the people that I go to. And it's listen, I get it. It's clicks, it's engagement. It's you got to get people to, that's what keeps the light on. I get all of that. But there's ways to do it the right way. But with that said, I kind of want to reel this back because I don't want to shift away from the point. My point, my question to you is, when you hear Michael Pachter, who has gotten it right quite a bit with this whole ABK thing, a lot of his, especially his Game Pass theories, he's gotten it right, folks. See, money, when he says Xbox wants to win the gaming business and not the console war, I think that there is no more truer statement
100%.
than that. What are your thoughts? What could you add to this?
I mean, it's 100% fact. We know this. The moment that they bought ABK, um, that whole idea of winning anything with consoles went out the window. They don't care. They don't care. They did everything that they needed to do to solidify themselves as a premium brand. I mean, you think about what they have become in Microsoft gaming. Xbox, it has surpassed Windows at Microsoft. Okay, so this is not a little thing for them. And if you look at what they do outside of Xbox, everything is service based, right? It's all services. That's what they do, right? The only thing that they have hardware is they'll make the Surface, right? But even then, that's just basically what Xbox is going to become, right? Is going to be the boutique console that you can go and you can buy an Xbox and play local if you so chose. But at the end of the day, it's all gonna be services, man. It's all gonna be services, and that's just what it's gonna be. Why do you think when we saw that leak, right? If you go back to before the leak happened, people were asking Phil about, the phone model and how, do you keep up with it and things coming out all the time. And he said that the problem is how like the way to solve that is you have to think about it differently, right? How can we do something that can be upgraded, right, all the time, right? And at the time we didn't understand what that meant, right? Oh, he's talking about swappable pieces, right? Are we gonna take out a GPU and buy a new GPU? But then when we found the leak out, we saw the leak. Now we know exactly what they're doing. They're going to build a baseline hardware spec that's going to be insane for the day it releases, but that's going to be backed by AI and cloud. And cloud is finally going to do what it was intended to do back in the Xbox One generation before they had to change everything and remove the always online scenario, and it's going to power the games more than what the hardware can do, but it's also the way that they will continuously upgrade the power of what you're playing because the cloud can be upgraded, right? So they can add more power to the cloud, which will then in turn make your console more powerful. So realistically speaking, the way I look at it, this will be the last console that they make for the foreseeable future. Because at the end of the day, once you have strong enough power in the box and then you have the cloud to basically enhance it and in any way, and you can continuously do that. Plus, you have AI that's going to take things that are, again, even if you compare what DLSS 3 is from the NVIDIA, I mean, it's magic, right? Like they can take a 720p stream and put it at 4K, 120 frames per second. You know what I'm saying? Like just like that with their frame generation that they do. And it looks phenomenal. It plays phenomenal. I mean, you can't tell the difference, right? All you do is feel the difference of how amazing it is. And that's going to come, right? That's going to be what they're doing. They at a certain point, they don't need to do it anymore. So once that happens, the console is just going to be living there. But what becomes of the cloud gaming when you no longer can feel the difference between cloud gaming and being on a console? Now you may say like blasphemy, that'll never happen. No, no, no. It has to be that way. Well, I could tell you right now that my life, I don't have a lot of time to sit in front of the console or sit in front of my PC, even though I have it 4090 right here. I don't have time to sit here and play most of the time. So most of my gaming is done on my Logitech G Cloud, and I stream from GeForce Now. Ever since Xbox Game Pass came to GeForce Now, bro, woo, I played all of Starfield like that, looking better than any of you played it on your Xbox because
It's
it
funny.
looked beautiful.
I
It
actually
played.
have that on the TV that I bought, GeForce Now.
Yeah, it's amazing. If you get that 40, I mean, it's expensive. I got it before when they first did it, so I'm grandfathered into the original pricing that I had, for being a founder. It's pretty expensive, but it's literally like having a high-end PC on your tablet. I mean, I'm playing
That's
Alan Wake right
crazy.
now, all ray tracing, 60 FPS on the Logitech Cloud, man, and it's phenomenal and it feels phenomenal. I'm not doing it like, oh man, this feels janky. No, if you have internet that's decent, you have a native experience. That's the way it feels. I cannot feel anything. I play Halo on there and busting ass. Well, not, no better than I do on the console, but still, I still do good enough, right? Like it's really that way. And this is just still now. As time progresses, as time goes on, it's just going to become more and more natural feeling. And that's where we're going to be. And once that happens, then you're going to start asking yourself, well, do I need to spend $600 to play the same games I would play if I were to just buy it on the service or just play it on Game Pass and it's all being streamed. Remember, Phil said that this year the games that you own should be streamable
Yes. Yes. And it's about
on
time.
cloud. So that Game Pass app is just going to turn into like an Xbox app, and you're just going to basically, the way I envision is they're probably just going to put you on your dashboard, right? And from your dashboard, you go ahead and you know, either play one of your games that you have or get on Game Pass and play. But I mean, I think at the end of the day, the future of this is going to be service based. It's just going to be, man. Think about Netflix, right? Now, the one thing that this doesn't mean is it doesn't mean that we won't have exclusives,
Right.
right? And I think a lot of people are conflating the two, and it does not mean that. They still want you to have a reason to subscribe to our thing outside of just the free games that you get on Game Pass, right? They need to make it, enticing because again, you can have all the free games you want in the world, but if this content that's in there is not worth it to you, when you could just have access to other stuff in that, you know what I'm saying? Like they have to have it. Netflix does
Yes.
it, right? Netflix didn't decide, you know what? Let's put all of our stuff on HBO Max because more people will watch it, will make more money, right? No,
No, you
streaming
you you
upkeeping that is
subscribe to
expensive
each
now.
one of the you sub to each one. If you want to watch The
Exactly.
Boys, you have Amazon Prime.
Amazon
If
Prime.
you want to watch
Exactly.
Stranger Things, well, you have Netflix for
Netflix.
that. If you want to
Absolutely.
watch Twisted Metal, for instance, which I heard was good, I want to get it. I don't have Peacock, but I because of Twisted Metal, I actually might get it. But I can't find it anywhere else except on Peacock. So again, I do see a scenario which again I'm not signing off on this, folks. I think there is a world where exclusives matter and that they work and they should still work because obviously
Facts.
Netflix and Amazon and all of these other streaming services do in fact have exclusive content to their brand that you subscribe to their brand for. There is a bit of a difference with Microsoft and Xbox because obviously it's gaming, but it still could be equated somewhat very close to one to one. So when obviously when you hear Michael Pachter say that Xbox wants to win the gaming business and not the console war, I think that he is 1,000% right. And I think that is probably in all of the weeks past hearing Xbox is going third party and people in the community kind of losing their shit a little bit, which a little disappointing, but it is what it is. It's like sports. People get emotional about sports and people get emotional about games. It's just a thing. It's fine.
Facts.
What I don't like is the infighting, the very nasty rhetoric that's been happening. That's why I started muting people. I don't want to block anybody because it causes drama, so I just put you on mute and I put you on the pay no mind list. If you're an asshole, pardon my French, you get put on the pay no mind list. I don't block as much as I used to anymore because you get people like, oh look, the boomstick block me. Well, if you're an a hole, I'm gonna block you. Sorry. So now I just I mute the shit out of everybody because I don't want no drama. I'm 53. I'm too old for this shit. And I think you've heard that in Lethal Weapon. So, um, listen, let me catch up with some super chats here, and then of course I want to get into the Call of Duty thing. I'm not a mobile guy. Okay, hold on a sec. I play 3 mobile games. I do. I play Marvel Snap, which is freaking amazing. I buy every month. I get the stupid season pass. The month pass. I do it all. I love it. I can play that for freaking 6 hours and never get bored. I play Words with Friends with Mrs. Boom because it's Scrabble and we we're old, so we like stuff like that. And I do like Candy Crush. I don't buy anything there. I do everything for free and I win all the free stuff. I don't spend not a dime there. Real quick, oh my god, I'm so sorry. Did anyone go to Xbox.com recently and see that the
Candy
splash
Crush.
screen is Candy Crush? That's
It's
dude. I
happening,
went
man.
looking for it. I'm like, when is this coming to console? Mrs. Boomin's gonna lose her shit because she loves that, and it's not available yet. But I know it's coming because during the holidays, Phil Spencer, someone sent me a screen cap that he was playing on Xbox Candy Crush. So
Nice.
it's only a matter of time. I think that's going to be brilliant. Again, I'm not making any money out of the deal, but I do like Candy Crush. It's fun. Um, Highlander 001, a very generous friend of the program. Not only gifts 5 double barrel gaming memberships. I don't even know how he can afford to do this. The generosity, brother, is
He's a
just,
good man.
it's crazy, and I cannot thank you enough for being so generous. He does that. He also drops a $5 super chat and says Sony is ending its acquisition of Z Media. That's a company in India. It may cost Sony $90 million. Sony is bleeding money hand over fist,
Money they don't
not
have.
gaming, but still bad. You know what's crazy? You bring that up, and obviously, I think we're going to cover this tomorrow. I have a few guests joining us. I kind of want to talk about it tomorrow, of what's actually happening at Sony, because there is, I think somebody should be ringing the alarm bell, folks. Now,
100%.
obviously,
100%.
Mondays ago, you remember C Money. I think you might have covered it on one of your show. They lost $10 billion in stock
Oh, yeah.
value because they fell short of their projections for the PlayStation 5. Okay, so that's
Tiny
just one,
margins.
right? They're being sued for quite a bit of money in the UK. I don't know exactly how much it is, but I want to say it was 10
10
billion,
bill.
but it is 10 billion. Okay, so I
Yeah.
was right. So I
Oh,
thought
yeah.
I was just reading of what they lost. No, that, yeah, so that's fact. They're getting sued by the government for anti-consumer behaviors in
And
the
it's moving
UK.
forward.
Yeah, it's moving forward because the courts there said there's enough evidence to move forward. And that's the same court, the CMA, that they wanted to shove up Microsoft's you know what. And obviously
Yep.
now they're catching a bad one. So if they lose that would be $20 billion. But no one remembers
That they
C
don't
Money.
have.
Wait, it gets worse. No one remembers that when the ABK deal got done, they lost quite a bit to their stock last year. And now, right now, PSVR failed. They're
Yep.
moving that to PC. They closed, obviously, London Studios, who was solely responsible for making VR games. So PSVR is dead. You might as well just kiss it goodbye. If anyone's going to make third party stuff, maybe, but you're not getting anything out of first party. That's done. They're in a bit of a
It's
pickle,
crazy.
man. So yeah, I think we're gonna cover that tomorrow. Plus, you're starting to see some of the leadership. Corey
Yep.
Barlog put something out there on the socials that was a little bit concerning about him leaving, and
Neil Druckmann.
and yes, and Druckmann. He seems a bit disenchanted with what's happening. Again, I can't speak for the man, but obviously there's a lot going on at Sony. Even Insomniac Games, did you see the tweet from them? Now,
Yep.
no one ever goes against Sony. They put a whole,
Unprecedented.
yeah, dude,
Unprecedented. We got bought and we were independent and never had to do this. We
right?
get bought and we have to sever our team. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
Ratchet
It's
and Clank dead.
yeah,
Gone. The whole team.
yeah.
Wild.
It's spooky, man.
But Xbox
Super
is in
spooky.
danger.
But ain't
Xbox is
Xbox
the
is in
one that we
danger?
need to
Yes, it
speak
is.
about, constantly in danger. They're the ones we got to worry about. Oh my God, they're going third party. Bro, come on, man. $3 trillion, man. $3 trillion,
Let's keep it a
and you're
buck, as
gonna
the kids
keep
like to
looking.
say, right? Let's keep it a buck.
Yeah, come on, man. Come on, man. There's only
All right,
one
so
doom and gloom scenario that exists here, and it's PlayStation. If
it's
ponies don't
yeah.
see it, that's a personal problem.
Well, they need to learn to read the room. It's super important in life. Read the room, folks. You'll learn that when you put on the big boy pants and you have a family.
Facts.
It's called reading the room. Check it out. It works. J Mac drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, in
Hey,
my
Mac.
opinion, we gamers have too much access to the inner workings of the industry. I think that has a lot to do with all of the negative narratives. In my opinion, hashtag Xbox World Order. We are a bit spoiled, aren't we? I don't. It's funny. Back in the days, I didn't even have internet, right? Like I didn't. I was like one of the last ones because my pops was blue collar dude, right? Um, and I remember I used to my friend Jay the Destroyer. If the name sounds familiar, he's one of the guys that are on my Game of the Year podcast. I used to call him up because he had internet, right? And he had like this is before like web TV and everything. And I'd be like, hey, dude, any Capcom news? Like I would call him for news. It's crazy. If he's listening, he's probably laughing his balls off right now. But
That's
yeah,
funny.
we might be a bit spoiled because we do have access to so much. It's crazy. I put it to you this way: if I had the knowledge that these kids had back in those days, I'd be a millionaire, straight up, a million freaking air for sure. But that's not what happened. So it is what it
And
is.
they don't use it because it's just normal to them.
It's just normal. Yeah, it is.
It's just
So
normal to them.
it's also, no offense, younger generation, you're a bit lazy. You're kind of
Facts.
entitled. Just saying, I love you
Facts.
all, but you're a bit entitled sometimes. You got to put the work in. You got to sweat. You got to bleed. You got to have tenacity. It's the old ways of being. But you know what? Those old ways made us the men that we are today. So
Facts.
just saying. Raiden Blade drops a 2 pound super chat and says, C, we need a dark sea mustard emoji. C for
God damn it.
your rates. That's
For
hilarious.
your for
Not
your
the dark
ranks.
mustard. What about the
Your
spicy mustard one?
yeah. Yeah.
That dude, that mustard stuff is following you around,
It's following me
taunting you, brother.
forever.
It's
They
crazy.
found out I hate mustard, and that was the
Oh
end.
man.
That's
Shout
all
out to
I
Doodle
hear.
who's in the chat. Welcome, darling. Nice to see you here
My
as
doodle.
Yep, she's there.
My lovey.
Andrew Doyle, Andrew Andre Doyle drops a very generous £2, $2 super chat and says, "Playground hired the laid off PlayStation devs." You know something? Thanks for confirming that. I saw that someone had posted on the social that Playground, who is in London, asked, say, "Hey, listen, anyone that's affected, reach out to us. We're hiring." So maybe some again, I don't have the story in front of me. I'm gonna look for it, but if they did, that's good on Playground Games for that. That's a really cool thing that they did. Um, let's see. We got here Simon Brandy drops a very generous £5 super chat, and he says, "I will name him for you, Boom. Tom Warren's behavior since some info was proven incorrect has been embarrassing. He acts like an Xbox spokesperson." Look, here's the thing, Simon. I appreciate the super chat and I appreciate you being honest. I don't like to name names because I'm not looking to go to war. I get things wrong all the time. When I get it wrong, because this is a man thing, and it's the way my pops were. He was really all about, if you get it wrong, Craig, you got to get out there and you got to be adult about it. And you got to tell people you got it wrong. You're not throwing yourself on the sword, but if you get it wrong, you got to be out. You got to be honest. Listen, you get it wrong, it happens. Um, Now getting it wrong, what is that because of? Is that because of you didn't do the proper research, or did something change? Now, if something changed beyond the initial report, well, then you got to come out and say, "Hey, listen, I gotta do an asterisk to this story because I got this wrong and it changed." Okay, fine. If you get it wrong for being lazy and not doing the groundwork to get the right information, well, that's definitely on you. And if you don't walk forward and be like, "Yeah, folks, I'm here. I got it wrong." I'm definitely gonna have a problem. But great. Thank you so much, Simon, for being here, brother, and thank you for the generosity. And we also have Gray Fox 020. Ray Fox, what's going on, brother? He says this after dropping a £2 super chat. "Hey, Boom, greetings from Amsterdam, the Netherlands. Welcome all the way here from New Rochelle, New York, brother. Thank you so much for listening. Appreciate you being here, Gray Fox." Okay, let's move into this one. I'm giddy over this. Now, I'm giddy because I'm not capping for the $1 trillion company. They barely even know who Double Barrel Gaming is. They have recognized the channel, which is great, but we're a speck in this gigantic cog known as gaming. But I'm happy that we're here. Okay, here's why I'm excited. Call of Duty Warzone Mobile is not something that I'm going to play. But I know that a younger generation who constantly is on their phone, is on their tablet, is going to play this game. We do have confirmed reports that as of today, folks, as of 12:40 p.m. on the 29th of February, they already have money. 50 plus million
Jesus.
pre-registered users. Think about that for a second.
Holy
That's
shit.
around the world. 50 million gamers are pre-registered to play this game. And you know what I found out today that I did not know? And this comes the way of everyone. Again, I'm going based on what he told me. There's going to be cross progression, meaning that when you're playing
Yes.
this, on your
Unlocks and all
phone,
that stuff is gonna go to your
you're
game.
gonna then go home, turn on your 50 65-inch TV, and your
Yep,
shit is going to be there. That is
yep.
just
This is not just
crazy.
a side piece bullshit mobile game. This is a mobile way to continue your progression when you're not able to play on your
It's great.
computer
It's
or
crazy.
or
So
your
so
console.
so why am I
Insane.
excited, folks? Why am I ultimately I like to be transparent here. This is why I think a lot of you folks follow me, right? Not only here that you're subscribed to the channel. I like to keep it a buck. I have a great pension. I worked super hard to get it. I say that to you all the time. It's not throwing in anyone's face, but I did. I worked super hard for it. But with that said, that pension, as you know, has a ceiling. And in 2024, where nobody wants to admit, see money, that there's an effing recession going on, there's an effing recession going on. Sorry. No one has to tell me that everything has gone up and your paychecks have not. So when you're talking about Xbox Game Pass, for me, it is a big deal because it allows me to never worry about having to find 76.43 to buy an Xbox game because I know it's going to be right there for me to download. And on top of
Facts.
first party, I'm going to get indie, I'm getting second party deals, and I'm getting third party deals like Tales of Arise. If you have not played that game, what are you waiting for? Go freaking download it right now. Okay? That's a part of the service. 16.99 a month. So, how does that equate with Call of Duty Warzone Mobile? Let me tell you how that makes a difference and why it matters. This game is going to come out, see money, and it's basically going to print money. And that money is ultimately going to be reinvested into Xbox Game Pass, Xbox first party, potentially third party deals, but more importantly, and I think this is the real sticking point. And please push back, Simon, if you don't think if I'm speaking the hashtag truth here. This move, absolutely, in my opinion, folks, guarantees that whatever Call of Duty Black Ops Gulf War drops into becomes available, it is going to be in your service day and date. And when that happens, they officially have taken over the world. Because regardless of whether or not you like it for multiplayer, single player, or like me, both. Like I dabble in multiplayer. Halo is my game of choice for multiplayer, but I get down with Call of Duty. I can still hold my own. So I do play occasionally. When this game drops into Game Pass, it is over for the industry, dude. What are your thoughts on this, man?
100% in agreement, yo. Like this is the game plan for them, right? Like this is why it makes sense. They're gonna do nothing more than continue to spread Call of into every possible service. Is gonna be everywhere. And they're using that money the same way PlayStation was using that money, right? To fund everything, right? That's why they don't mind. I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, they're gonna take a loss on Xbox, purchases of Call of Duty, at least initially, but they're gonna get it back in so many other ways. It's a no-brainer. I mean, at the end of the day, this really is, end game for them. Like having Call of Duty come into the service where it's in Game Pass, now they're marketing it. Once marketing really gets going on this, I mean, there's no coming back from that. They're going to be uh hitting all new highs. And it guarantees 100% what you said, that Game Pass day and date will always be here to stay for us, whether it's Call of Duty or every other game that go into service, because that's how much money this type of thing's gonna bring. Bro, 50 million mobile players who are used to paying, here and there like the cosmetics and all that stuff. Like this is what they do. This is the entire point of it. It's gonna be huge. Gonna be huge.
So let me read the press release for this. This comes the way of callofduty.com. So it's the official site. And if you didn't know, folks, Call of Duty Warzone Mobile is releasing on March 21st. They had originally said it was going to be the spring. Obviously, they're closing in on spring. They said this is what the presser had to say. Let's see. Call of Duty Warzone Mobile to launch worldwide on March 21st. Iconic Burndanks and Rebirth Island are back with real Call of Duty action wherever you go. Play Call of Duty Royale and multiplayer modes while you level up weapons and the Battle Pass with shared progress across Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 and Call of Duty Warzone. So again, confirmed, folks, that what you do on this mobile game is going to cross over to your console games and vice versa. But this is where it gets pretty interesting. If you pre-register right now, what you're going to get, it says now. Okay, so before I get to that, one of the pieces of the press I want to confirm at Call of Duty Next, we shared that 45 million players had pre-registered and that we were releasing the Battle Royale map Rebirth Island at worldwide launch. We can now share that thanks to all of the support of the fans from around the world, we have surpassed 50 million pre-registrations for the game. And for those of you who haven't yet, players who pre-register for Call of Duty Warzone Mobile will unlock the following redeemable rewards upon worldwide launch. You're going to get the Ghost Condemned Operator skin, the M4 Archfiend, and the X12 Prince of Hell weapons blueprints, the Foe's Flame vinyl, as well as the Dark Familiar emblem. I mean, so you're getting free shit. I don't see why you wouldn't go register because, well, I registered as well just so I can get the free stuff. I'm sorry, if it's free, I'll take 3, right?
Facts. Absolutely. 100%.
So I mean,
This is
look,
so dope.
money. This is the one of the things that I think has been absent from gaming. And folks, please chime in. Let me know if you're feeling the same way. Anybody stand in line for the Halo Combat Evolved launch at midnight? I did. I bought the entire launch list. I worked so much overtime, it was obscene. But I bought every launch game. I bought memory
Nice.
cards. I bought an extra Duke. I went crazy because this is what I did. This is what I used to do. Stand in line for hours. I stood in line. It's there hasn't really been C money because again, maybe because we're spoiled, right? Like we expect a game to download for us. Or even worse than that, we go and we preload the game, right? We like
Yep.
the game could be 3 months out. And we're like, yeah, my joint's already preloaded. I'm ready to rock and roll. And at 12:01,
Facts.
if you can't play that game, you're cursing. And
Oh,
I've
yeah.
done. I'm cursing.
100%.
But there hasn't been in a long time, C Money, one of those games that has set the interwebs to a fervor, right? This game, I think this game is gonna do that. Like just hearing this presser, again, I get it. They're gonna say all the right things. It's Call of Duty.com for Christ's sake. Of course they're gonna say the things. But just looking at how many people are talking about a freaking mobile game, and see, that's the difference. You actually said it. It's not a mobile game where it's not going to be in conjunction with the console release. It's literally going to be 1-to-1. And if you have a nice phone, if you have a nice tablet, it's probably going to look really dope. Um,
Yeah.
are you gonna try it out?
Of course. Of
Yeah.
course. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll definitely do it. I'll have it on my phone. I mean, it's not, I already told you, like, for me, I mostly play on the handheld anyway. So if I get a little time, you know, why not? It's easy. It's on the
Well,
phone. And I've already played the other one a little bit and it controls well and, go kick some
yeah.
ass on these kids who just playing for the first time, you know what I'm
You, you know,
saying?
these kids are good, man. Their reflexes are much better than us old dogs.
Well, yeah,
But you know,
the good ones, yes, but when you get into the new ones, you just
the
see
news.
them walking in a corner, you're like, "Oh, it's gonna be one of those
I
games."
see
And
you.
just
I
go kick
see
some
you
ass.
there.
That's it, man.
I don't know if how many people are playing Halo Infinite still. I can't stop playing it. Like I was like really into Helldivers. I couldn't not play that game. But then I lost the boss battle to the servers and I couldn't get in for 2 days and I just haven't been back. So I was like, you know what? After this, I'm going back to Halo. And
Similar to what
I have
happened to you with, Horizon, right? You got
yes.
frustrated, you were having issues, and you're like, "Fuck it, I'm gone." But
Yeah,
this
I
is the problem.
lost 3 times in a row an hour's worth of play because there's no save in that game that you can, like hard save yourself. It's you have to wait for the auto save, which I can't stand. And I died, and it didn't auto save, and I fell through the freaking map twice. And I'm like, you know what? I'm good. I like the character, I like the world, but
It
I'm not doing
happens.
this. Um, but look, like I said, folks, again, my excitement for Warzone isn't really so much for the fact that I'm going to be playing Warzone. It's what Warzone is going to do for me as a consumer. And I think that if you really kind of put yourself as a consumer first, it is important. I know that we have these console war, conversations, and a lot of people are good at it. Some are terrible at it. Some people take it personal, which is gross. Some people, just are, they are who we thought they were. But for me, the excitement is the game. Sure, it's going to be a big game. It's going to make a lot of money for Microsoft that I'm not getting a dime for. But I think for me, if I take a step back and I say, okay, what is it doing for me as a consumer? That tells me that my Game Pass subscription service is the value is gonna go up because Call of Duty is getting in there this year, day and date, and hopefully, the same way Sony used Call of Duty profits to fund first party development, which they're not going to be able to do now because they're not going to have the marketing deal. They're not getting the sweetheart deal. Hopefully, Microsoft uses that money to fund gaming in first party. Let me ask you that: do you think that they should do that? See money?
Of course. They should absolutely make it, use that money to fund more first party. It's like,
I
it
hope that
has
they
to be.
do. I hope
Yeah,
that they
it's the
do.
only thing that makes sense. That's the whole point. This is why their whole situation is jacked up because they're not looking for games to just break even. They want to make a profit that they can then use to actually invest and back into the games. But when you're just breaking even, you're constantly in risk mode, right? Because you're constantly using your own money, not the profits, the money that you already had to try to invest again. And hopefully this one does it, right? And that's where Xbox having that 70% cut on every platform outside of the 100% that they get from themselves, that's where it's going to come in where they can easily look at that money and say, listen, that money is going to go fund the next Call of Duty. It's going to fund the other, you figure the mobile game that once they make that one, that's not gonna cost them a shit ton of money to keep going, right? They'll just it's a mobile game, right? So it definitely costs a lot less, but the income will still be huge, right? So that's where you take that money and you go ahead and you invest that in your other first party titles that are being made. Understand, don't forget, Microsoft is making more AAA games than any first party platform ever has in the history of gaming.
Indeed.
This is just what it is. It's unprecedented, right? Microsoft has never, no one has ever been in a position where they were spending so much money on AAA games at one time. Okay. Thankfully, Microsoft has bank like no other, so they can absolutely afford to do it. But on top of that, with the fact that they're reaching deep into PlayStation's pockets with Call of Duty going forward, they're getting that 70% cut from every one of those purchases.
Yep.
If the 30% was life changing for PlayStation, what do you think 70% is for Microsoft? Right? It's huge.
You know what's interesting, see money, you say 70%, right? As if that's the standard fare. When Activision was running the show, what did they do to Microsoft? What did they say to Phil
80/20.
Spencer? Hey, listen, 70, not cutting. So we're getting 80 from Sony. If you can't give us 80, then we're just not launching it on your platform. Now we know so
Yep,
Microsoft won't do that to Sony because obviously they're contractually, they have to do it
obligated
based
to
on
do it.
yeah,
Yep,
obligated. Thank you.
yep.
But what if they keep it at 80 and they're only getting 20%? Like we don't know. Like we talked about
I
that.
mean,
Like why would
after the 10 years is absolutely possible when they look
yeah,
at them and say, "Hey, listen, you still want Call of Duty? Because if you do, it's gonna be 80-20, right?"
yep,
But also, we leave out the fact that they were on the 80-20. So they were
yes,
only getting 20 of what was sold on Xbox. Now they're getting the other 80 on what's
yeah,
sold on Xbox,
yep.
plus whatever Game Pass subscribers, they gain from it. So it's literally Call of Duty itself is gonna be such a game changer for how much money they get to spend into these games. It's crazy.
It
Because
is crazy, but
now they wanna
yeah.
keep making money off of it. They're gonna keep
Well,
investing because they keep wanting to make it more.
I just hope that they don't put these some of these studios in the salt mines of Call of Duty just to pump it out. Like I really hope that they
No,
go.
if anything, they're doing the opposite, right?
I hope so.
If anything, they're gonna pull back and make it, you know, maybe have a few that just cycle over. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a huge thing, and I don't think they'll all be gone, but I think like a Toys for Bobs or something like that, right? You see that they let go a few people, right? And now they're moving to like this, remote or whatever it is. Like that tells me if they were needing them or if they were planning to keep them churning on Call of Duty, then why would you get rid of anybody, right? But it looks like what they're trying to do is they're going ahead and slimming it down to only what's creatively necessary to make toys for Bob games and not just, you know, extra hands for Call of Duty, right? So I envision them taking full advantage of this. I don't think Call of Duty is the end all be all for them. They have everything else. Game Pass is still a huge factor and everything, all the other exclusives they're making. It's just going to be it's like having your own personal, side bank. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just going to be pumping money from Call of Duty and you could take it and do whatever you want from it. It's going to make it easier to take risk on other types of games. I mean, it's going to be a whole new world for us as far as how much we have. Plus, if you take in consideration, that at some point in the future, right, we know that he said 4 games, right? And that's what I understand to be, and that's what I
Yes.
agree with, right? But in the future, he has laid out scenarios where it can deviate, which is games that are a year old or more, live service games or small titles, right? Passion projects, right? That can go elsewhere. Listen, if Call of Duty and doing all that stuff allows a lot more yeses when greenlighting games versus nos because it's not going to make as much as they want it to make,
Yep.
I think I call that a W for us. You know what I'm saying? I call that a big W.
It's interesting. We got about another 5 or 10 minutes. I do want to go and I want to pose this question for you, but let me catch up on the super chats here. We have
Absolutely.
Abacav72 who's been a channel member for 26 months. Holy shit, dude! That is
Jesus.
crazy generous of you. Thank you for the outstanding generosity. He says, "Did anyone notice that the individual studios Xbox bought, Playground Games, Obsidian, etc., haven't had a layoff yet?" Just the publishers. I hope I didn't jinx it. No, I think what you saw with the layoffs is what you're going to see, and I say that only because C said it. Right now, Xbox has more games in development than they've ever had in the history of gaming. Like, it is sick how many games that they have. And mind you, we know about 25 of them, right? But there's at least, I would say, 10 more that we don't from other studios. They're not looking to get rid of people. I don't think that they have to. I think what you saw, and again, I don't have the documents in front of me. This is just an assumption. Of course, I could be 100% wrong. A lot of the positions that they got rid of, unfortunately, were redundant positions. Now that doesn't make it right. I'm in the mind where why couldn't they have move those people to somewhere else within the company? That's what I would have tried to do, but I'm not the head of Microsoft, so I don't really have a say. That's what I would have done. Um, but it's I don't think you're gonna see layoffs over there. I really don't. I think like playground games, obviously they're working on the next horizon.
I
They're
mean, we know they're
working
hiring,
they're
actually.
hiring,
It's like
right?
the
So there's
opposite.
no layoffs there. Plus they're working on Fable and Horizon 6. So they're stacked. Obsidian is making a lot of games, right? So I don't think you're gonna see anything there. But it's I I think I again I don't know after what happened with 505 games today. This week has been just absolutely brutal for the
It is.
development community. It's just it's super scary.
I wonder if
Um,
Xbox might go and just buy some IP.
well, you see, before you get to that point, hold on just a second, sir, because I have a thought and a theory to this.
Alright.
Sir Riffs a lot drops a very generous $5 super chat, and he says, "I don't know about gaming on my phone when it's being used to listen to double barrel gaming." That's awesome, brother. Thank you so much. You're awesome, dude. He
So I gotta
says,
get an
"Lo-
iPad. You know what I'm
"Yeah,
saying?
exactly, exactly.
iPad
Love
for
the
the
show."
gaming, iPhone.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a top tier Samsung tablet that Mrs. Boom bought me for Christmas. I think it was last year that I would definitely use for gaming. He says, "Love the show. Can't wait for the Xbox mobile device." Yeah, listen, I'm telling you, man, 2026 can get here quick
Fingers
enough,
crossed,
man.
bro.
Yeah,
Fingers freaking
I
crossed,
want
bro.
again, I have a ROG Ally, folks. I don't use it.
Yep.
I just don't. I'm saving it. My nephew's getting into PC gaming as all kids do, so I'm probably going to give it to him. I don't use it because I don't like having it's too PC for me. I'm not a PC guy. You know what I want? I want like when I go to my Switch and I'm going to sit down and hang out with Mrs. Boom and we're going to play Animal Crossing. You know what I do? Press the power on. I press the A button to connect the controller. Click, 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 and I'm in the game. That's it. The screen comes up. I'm in the game. I don't want a PC experience. I want a native Xbox experience for the handheld, and I think they're going to deliver it. Um,
I agree, man. I
Chris
really want it.
Washington.
I really want it.
Yeah, yeah, that makes two of us. Chris Washington drops a very generous $2 super chat, and he says, "Hi, where's Fuzzy? My friends, in my head, Fuzzy Belvedere was on vacation. I think Fuzzy Belvedere will be back tomorrow for Breakfast Boom. I'm not sure if he's still on vacation.
Oh,
Don't
he was on my show yesterday.
there you go. He was on the show. So yeah, so he should be returning tomorrow for Breakfast at Boom, which I have a pretty good store, a pretty good show for that for tomorrow morning. I'm doing the thumbnail right now. So getting back to your
Nice.
pointsy money, while
Mhm.
we have a few minutes, let's bring in the acquisition talk again
Love it.
because Call of Duty again, folks. This is why I went with this. 50 plus million registered Call of Duty players are going to be playing this game. They're going to be spending money. They're going to be buying things. And with all of that said, at this opens up, it's going to print money. Let's call a spade a spade. It's going to literally print money. And while it's
Fact.
printing money, there are places that need potential new homes, i.e., Embracer Group is literally bleeding. They just sold Saber Interactive for $500 million. They were the ones that were responsible for making the KOTOR remake, which wasn't being done so well, and that's why it was canceled. Apparently, it's still a thing. I don't know, but they just sold them. They have Crystal Dynamics, they have Eidos Montreal, they have Deus Ex IP, they have the Tomb Raider IP, they have a lot of offerings that I have been in my own mind begging Xbox to buy. With all of this newfound money from like Call of Duty, you don't think that they're going to use some of that money? Because we said, hey, use that money for first party. Well, what if using that money for first party is buying new studios to make first party?
100%. 100%. It's absolutely gonna happen. Again, let's just taking words that are said from the top. Satya came down, said he's doubling down.
Indeed.
After you buy ABK, right, and close that deal, and then you come out and say, "We're not done, we are doubling down," that has a lot of weight to it. So, I 100% think that they're gonna go ahead and be buying, um, multiple studios, and the ones that you named are the key ones. I think immediately they go and scoop up anybody that's doing work for them. So you got Crystal Dynamics, you own them, so they're done. Even though they already had to let some people go, right? Like that's jacked up. Idols, you scoop them up, right? Because they're helping with Fable. Um, you have a Sobo, that's your flight simulator team, scoop them up. You get them, and then you get Plague's Tale. The Iron Galaxy people, fuck it. They're making Killer Instinct for you, you scoop them up,
I kind
right?
of wonder if they because it didn't okay. So it's funny you say that because what went under the radar is in the recent FTC hearings.
Yes, we talked about that big time.
Okay, they
24.
said 24 studios when we know that they only have 23. So obviously we don't know who that other studio is. I've been saying for quite some time that it has to be Iron Galaxy because they announced that they're working on the freaking thing for the next 10 years. They what they don't want to happen again is have the same thing that happened originally, right? They had no one to work on
Yep,
Killer Instinct and it didn't get done. So,
facts.
you know,
Facts. I mean, with them, they could kind of get it because they obviously they have the same thing with Asobo, right? It's a 10-year deal for a flight simulator. So technically, they can get away with that because now they understand the contracts. Before they didn't think they needed to, but now they do. Where all they have to do is put a simple clause in there where if you have somebody coming to buy you, or something like that, that they get first right of refusal to, beat the number and own them instead, right? So you do that with them. I'm sure they did something similar with Asobo. So that I think that's a little easier. I don't know if you remember after the developers direct. I mean, this may not be the most exciting one, but Oxide Games was not is for what we know is not a first party studio.
no,
They're
but what do
making
you call it?
Our
Said
History
it though. That
Untold.
was
But Aaron Greenberg said from our
yes.
4 studios.
Yes.
So maybe that's the disconnect, and they just didn't wanna say anything because obviously they picked them up for nothing, right? If 100,000,000, that would have been crazy in my mind for them to spend on them. So they could buy that, don't have to say anything. And of course, they had to disclose it to the FTC. But as far as like to everybody else, they could save it for an announcement, maybe when the game releases or something, an impactful moment to say it. But it might be them. Now, that's not the most exciting for me because I'm not really you know, real-time strategy type of person. Not that with the right IP associated with it, I couldn't do it, right? I did Halo Wars, I did Gears Tactics, I did, right? Typically games I don't mess with. Even Mario's plus Rabbids, right? Like even that game got me in. I was like, all right, it's Mario, I can see. Um, but I mean, it could be them, but I just think there's so many people that they could scoop up. Even I see in the chat somebody brought up Saber Interactive. That's a huge get in my book if they get them because Saber
Well,
has
they
helped
just
with tons
Embracer
of
just
games.
sold
Call
them
of
though for
Duty.
500,000,000.
Saber just I
Saber
mean,
Interactive, like
Embracer just
literally,
sold them?
yeah, I have the story. Let me
What?
find. Yes, they literally just Embracer. Where the hell is it? Gee, damn it!
Who
Hold on,
bought
just a
them?
second. Bloody hell! Hold on. Let me pull the story and see if it's here because I literally just read that they sold. No, that wasn't it. Coño. Okay, that's not it. You know what? Let me find the exact story because I'm pretty sure that I read it. You know what? Let me just do a quick Google search.
Oh, so Saber went private. They bought themselves back. That's what they're saying.
Yes. Yes. Yep. That's
Okay.
it. Yep.
All
I
right.
think they were
Well,
they pulled the bungee is what they did basically.
mm,
Because
I mean,
Bungie bought
I
themselves
mean,
back for that 500,000,000. They bought themselves back for 500,000,000.
it's that's risky. They had to know something was coming to do that because why like they don't have any IP, right? Like Saber doesn't have it. What does Saber have to kind of bet on yourself that way outside of, knowing that you're going to be working for somebody else for a long time? Maybe the Call of Duty, right? Maybe they know that they're going to because I know they've helped with Call of Duty a shit ton.
Well, this is what they're doing. According to Bloomberg, which I just pulled the report, folks, in front of me, it says Embracer Group to sell Saber developer to a of the new Star Wars game remake for $500 million, and Saber Interactive will continue developing Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, according to Bloomberg. This was posted
Oh,
a
so they're
couple of
working
hours
on that
ago.
game still.
Yeah. So
Dude, I gotta say, like, Xbox, as much as it's, like, cool, I mean, also, I mean, maybe they did the same shit with Crystal Dynamics and Idols. Like, we don't know if they did the clauses with them where it's like, "Hey, you
first
know,
refusal.
they're working
Yeah.
on this game, they're working on Perfect Dark for us. If there's a sale happening, we get first rights of refusal," right? Because that's an easy thing for them, and I feel like they would put that on anybody
They
they're working
absolutely
with.
would, yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
here's the
so
thing, the head of, Embracer Group, Lars, is very good friends with Phil Spencer, like, they're really good friends, so, obviously, I'm sure that that was a conversation to be had because of the importance of Crystal Dynamics literally working on Perfect Dark, and Eidos Montreal is helping out with Fable, that's confirmed, folks, it's not even a suggestion,
yes.
that's actually happening, so,
Yep.
I
I
don't
mean,
know, I
we
mean,
have it's just I'm very excited for that moment. I feel like they'll probably do another, like at E3, you know what I'm saying? Like
that would be
at their
so dope,
showcase,
dude.
talk
Yeah.
about they picked up 5 more studios or whatever it
Phil
is, like,
comes
that
out
would
on the
be
stage
epic.
and there's these new 5
Yes.
studios like he did in 2018. That would be kinda
Yes.
dope. That would be kinda dope,
Yep.
but listen,
Exactly.
listen, all I can say, folks, it's a great time to be an Xbox gamer. I know there's a lot of doom and gloom. I know there's a lot of people that will try and sell you a bad bill of goods where they're like, "Oh, Xbox is dying and they're selling and everything's going third party." It's not. Yes, did some things go third party? Sure. Did I was a fan of it? Not really, to be honest with you. But I also I have explained to you that I'm the old guard. I get it. But I do think that there are brighter times. This year is going to be killer. I don't I and I one of the things that obviously I just want to before we get on out of here, just drop this into your think tank. Let's talk about first party for Xbox in 2024. It's ridiculous, right?
Facts.
It's they have so many
Facts.
great games. Yes, they're launching on Game Pass. Yes, they are currently exclusive. If you have any doubt, just go look at what's releasing. And that's just first party. You have Avowed, you have Hellblade, you have I mean it's you have Indiana freaking Jones. Like come on, man. There
We
is
still
so
have
much.
second party games like Contraband that where the fuck is that, right? Like, we
Yeah,
we
well,
never heard anything about that.
they're working on it. I can tell you that. They're working on it and people are going to be very surprised. But
I'm
yeah,
interested. Now, real quick, before we forget out, because I'm seeing some crazy stuff in the chat real fast.
okay.
Gearbox is going independent as well?
Oh shit. I didn't see that news. Hold on just a
That's
second.
what Belzaire said, and then Amit Kumar, this one's really confusing me. He said Toys for Bob is going independent?
No, they're
That
owned by
doesn't make any sense.
they're
Yeah,
owned by
they're owned by
Microsoft.
Microsoft.
Yeah. Oh, wait a second. Hold on a sec. Yeah, hold on a sec here. I got it in front of me. According to Hazador Gaming, breaking Toys for Bob to become independent studio at Activision Blizzard. Leadership may do a partnership with Microsoft as independent studio. This comes the way of Charlie Intel. So Charlie Intel is
So,
reporting. Hold on, let me pull up his tweet. Breaking. Activision owned studio Toys for Bob is becoming an independent studio effective immediately. Toys for Bob is ending its support for Crash Team Rumble. In a note, Toys for Bob leadership says that they may explore a partnership with Microsoft as an independent studio. And this is the presser from Toys for Bob's folks. This is breaking news. Over the years, we've inspired love, joy, and laughter for the inner child in all of our games, in all of our gamers. We've pioneered new IP and hardware technologies in Skylanders. We raised the bar for best in class remasters in Spyro Reignited Trilogy. We've taken Crash Bandicoot to an innovative, critically acclaimed new heights. With the same enthusiasm and passion, we believe that now is the time to take the studio and our future games to the next level. This opportunity allows us to return to our roots of being a small and nimble studio. To make this news even more exciting, we're exploring a possible partnership between our new studio and Microsoft. And while we're in the early days of developing our next new game and a ways away from making any announcements, our team is excited to develop new stories, new characters, and new gameplay experiences. In closing, our friends at Activision and Microsoft have been extremely supportive of our new direction, and we're confident that we will continue to work closely together as part of our future. So,
Damn.
holy shit. Shout out
What
to
the
Kamar because I didn't even know
fuck?
that, but what in the actual F? I we're gonna have to continue this. And
My
Steven
God.
Totillo's reporting it as well. So, folks, this is the thing. This is the thing. I think we're gonna have to open tomorrow's breakfast at Boom with this because there's a lot of stuff now. The Gearbox stuff, they were independent at once. They were their own company, and they were bought and purchased by Embracer. Again, there's a lot of ongoings here. Holy crap! Okay, so we're
What
gonna
is happening?
I want to know how that works, though. I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to reach out to a few people and find out exactly what that means. Are they going to be like an Obsidian that they're owned by Microsoft, but they're their own independent studio? Is because I guess I'm a little confused by this.
I mean, it says they're big on their blog. It says we're going indie as like the big highlight there. So it's spinning off as an independent games development studio. I
Okay,
mean, it's
well,
pretty.
I don't know
I
if
mean, it's
anything has changed because let me see. I tried to send it to myself in the DM, and Hasdor might have deleted this tweet.
what
Um,
the
yeah, it's
what
gone. He
for the
yeah
blog post?
for the yeah. So I'm gonna I have the Steven Totillo
I
stuff here.
could send it to you right now. Yeah,
Again,
I
folks.
have the direct one. Clobro links to it. I
Okay,
just DM'd you.
okay, perfect.
Um, he links to it. So wow,
Yeah, that's
that
crazy.
is huge. But what about Gearbox though? Because Gearbox, I would
I
think, would also be a huge thing if this was
Folks,
actually happening.
we're all a little taken aback here. Hold on a sec. I'm doing this live on the Gearbox Studios. Let me see what they say about them. Sorry for the typing. I have a what do you call it? I have a mechanical keyboard. That's why you can hear it. I don't see anything. I don't see
Oh,
any.
I see from American Truck Song sources, Gearbox is close to a sale. Embracer will unload the Borderlands maker in a deal to close next month.
Holy
Comes
shit
after a year
balls!
of uncertainty for devs at the studio and budget cuts, shelved projects, and shakeups on the next Borderlands games. But didn't the dude Randy Pitchford just say that that it's amazing or something like that, whatever they're working on or some shit? What the hell
I
is
don't know,
happening?
but I don't like that
This is I'm
dude.
shocked that Xbox is like Toys for Bob was one of the ones that we were most excited about getting because
Well,
they
they're not
would be able
getting.
to do
Yeah, but
the
I don't. I mean, could this be a part of their third party plan? Right? Like obviously Crash Bandicoot and Spyro have always been third party, right? Maybe they're going independent. They're still a part of Microsoft, but they're gonna develop games for multi-platform. Again, it's I'm gonna have to peruse this a little bit more. We're going indie. Yeah, that's what it says. I got it in front of me.
yeah, big as
Thanks for
shit.
this. I don't know, folks. I'm just as confused as you. Normally, I have the stuff in front of me. This is happening. Breaking news, folks. Toys for Bob going indie. Is that a good thing or is it a bad thing? I don't know, but we're going to cover it tomorrow for sure on Breakfast at Boom. And I have to reach out to a few people that I know and find out some behind the scenes information of what exactly this means because I don't know what that means. They're owned by Microsoft. They bought them in the deal for
They were.
Activision Blizzard King. What does
But
that
remember, they
mean?
just closed this. So if you remember,
They closed
there
the
was this big
studio,
stink because they
the
closed
actual
the actual physical studio, like
right.
the building, right, the office. So everybody was like, "Oh no, they're shutting Toys for Bob down." Well, maybe that was them saying, "Okay, you guys are going independent. We're not paying for that office anymore. That's getting shut down, and then you guys do you remotely." So they had to buy them back, right? They had to like they didn't just give it to them, right? Like they had to for them to go indie. I assume they had to pay, just like Saber, right? Had to pay for
I
themselves to go indie.
guess. I mean,
Or maybe they just worked out a deal where it's like, "Hey, we'll let you go indie, but you have to make X amount of just kinda like Bungie, right? Remember Bungie was going independent, but they were still contracted to make the last couple of Halo games before dipping out?
yeah,
So
yeah.
maybe that's what they're doing? I don't know. Holy shit. This is crazy.
Yeah, people in I'm reading some of the I can't read some of the comments because they're very vulgar. But I don't know what this means because now if they're not a part of Xbox, who's making Banjo Kazooie? I don't know, but somebody better effing make that game. This is crazy to me. Look, folks, at the end of the day, what a show, right? We're almost an hour and a half into it, folks. Hopefully, you enjoyed enough that if you're new to the channel, you
Wow.
enjoyed the banter, you hit the like button, you subscribe to the channel. Maybe if you want to be extra generous, you share this out on the socials. You let the people out there know about Double Barrel Gaming. I would be greatly appreciated. Let's see, we caught up on all the super chats. All right, so folks, listen, we're gonna get out of here. I got to make some calls. I got to find out exactly what this means. I'm gonna reach out to a few people that I know and see if we can get some clarification of what this means. Because going indie, I don't know what that means. Are they part of Xbox? Are they part of is are they gone? I don't know.
It has to be. I mean, you can't be indie if you're owned by Xbox. You can't.
Yes,
It doesn't make any sense.
it
You're
it
you're
it
you're
does
not
not make
independent.
sense. But
No.
it's
So something's happening.
yes, we will
The
definitely
opposite direction of where we thought it was gonna go, right? We
yeah.
thought they were gonna get
Hmm.
more, not lose the studio. But, I mean, I guess, Toys for Bob was under the Activision thumb for so long, they basically lost their identity. They had to become a Call of Duty, machine, and maybe they talked to Phil, and, Phil's a good guy, man. Maybe they were like, "Listen, we don't wanna do that
We don't
anymore.
want to
We
work on
wanna
Call of
make our
Duty
own
anymore. We
stuff."
want to make the games that studio is known for, which is of course what they should have been doing all along. But look, see, thanks
I
so
don't
much for
know.
joining us. Folks, thank you so much
Absolutely, man.
for joining us today here. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Let's get to the outro. See Money, you got to sell the brand, brother, and you got a lot to get into because you do as many streams as I do weekly, and you're still working. I don't know how you do it, but you do it, and you do it well. You and the missus who is in the chat, Doodle, put on a great show. You do a great interview show, which obviously I was one of the first guests that you had, which I'm very
You were
honored
the
for.
first
That
guest.
the first guest. There you go.
The
Uh,
first guest.
talk about where people can help you continue to climb to that 13K. More importantly, where they can subscribe, follow you on social media, you and Doodle on social media. And what else you got going on, sir?
Absolutely, man. Well, first of all, man, thank you, brother. I appreciate it. It was a great show. Thank you for bringing me on. I love doing the show, so thank you. You guys can follow me on X or Twitter at C Money Forever. My lovely wife Doodle is at Doodle to be free. It's that's on Twitter as well. And yeah, we have a YouTube channel called On Point for Gamers. We just crossed 12.4K, so we're on our road to 13. I'm hopeful we get there. I'm thinking by summer, man. Like that's the goal. Can we do it? That'll be great. We would love for you to help us. But yeah, we do 4 shows a week, so one less than Boom. Um, and yeah, so today is what, Thursday? Okay, so tomorrow we have her, him, and the guest. Now it's normally on Tuesdays, but we had to swap because of our guest. So tomorrow, her, him, and the guest, we have Special Nick from Xbox Era gonna be coming by. It's gonna be a great show. He was on our show last week on Friday for night shift, but he's coming back for her, him, and the guest. It's gonna be awesome. So definitely come check that out. 7 p.m. Eastern time on Friday. On Sunday, we'll be back in the morning because Sundays is where we start our week on Point. And that's going to be for Morning Quest with Doodle and C Money. That's 10 a.m. Eastern time. And it's a super like chill show. It's super chat focused. We spend a lot of time chatting with the chat and being slanderous as we are, depending on what's going on. Just depends. But that's on Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern. Then on Tuesdays is normally her, him, and a guest, but this week, because again, we're gonna have a Friday her, him, and a guest. Tuesday is gonna be the night shift. Let's talk gaming. And we have Dirt Griggity and Sir X-Men who are gonna be joining us on that show. It's gonna be great. It's again at 6 p.m. Eastern time on Tuesday. And then Wednesday we'll have our gaming podcast. It's called On Point, the gaming podcast. Nice and simple. But yeah, that's where it's gonna be me, Doodle. And we'll talk gaming and we'll have a good time, man. That's what we do there. It's fun. We obviously very if you haven't noticed from how I talk about things, very Xbox focused.
Nothing wrong with that, sir.
And a little slanderous against the ponies as we do, but it's a good time. It's a good time. Definitely come check it out. I mean, there's tons of our homies here who are in the chat right now. We appreciate all of you guys. So definitely help us out on our road to 13K, man. We're excited. And and we will be going to PAX this year
Nice.
as our first year, and we will be going as media,
Very
which is
nice.
epic. We didn't think we would get it, but they gave it to us. It's our first time applying for it, and we got it right away, which is super dope. Have like 4,000 emails from all the game companies that want us to come out to see their game. This is very schedule intense. You gotta like really
Yes.
schedule stuff out. So we're gonna be doing tons of interviews, and we'll put up gameplay videos of us playing stuff or whatever they have going on. So definitely be subscribed to the channel for when that happens. There's going to be tons and tons of work, tons and tons of videos. It's going to be good. It's going to be good.
Yep.
But aside from that, man, thanks again. Boom. Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, well,
I did
congratulations
drop
on
the link
that.
in the channel, by the way.
Yes,
Thanks,
yes,
man.
yes, yeah, absolutely, brother. Congratulations on that. That's a big get. I've been to 3 PAX East. It's a great time. It's a great time. I used to go there. This is
Absolutely.
before I even had a channel. I never went there as a double barrel gaming. I'm gonna try and go next year. This year just the money didn't match, so it's fine. I'll do it next year. But congratulations on that. It's a really big deal for your channel, folks. A
Yeah,
big
man.
thank you to all of the channel memberships, the generosity through super chats. They continue to come in and they allow for us to keep the channel up to date with equipment, with the consistent artwork changes that we're doing, and of course, more importantly, the big giveaways that we do. We do have 4 big giveaways happening this year. That is going to start in September. The holiday season is going to be loaded with giveaways, and obviously we couldn't do that without the generosity of this community. So once again, thank you for helping us out there. And of course, folks, I'm going to close out today's show with something that's incredibly important to me. Hopefully, one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of X Vlog Live.